In today's video, I am going to be breaking down how young players can defend against the screen and roll. Now, this is not going to be crazy advanced strategies like icing a screen. This is going to be simple things that young players can do to defend against the screen and roll. Here in Canada, we can use screen and rolls at any age, so of course, I'm going to be breaking this down and showing you how you can defend against it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and obviously the 5-out offense is a big portion of today's game. So make sure to go check out the complete guide to the 5-out offense that is down in the description below. Okay, so there's obviously the really basic techniques of switching and things like that, and I'm going to get into that later. But right now, this is one of the most advanced strategies that you can run with younger players that they will actually understand. So let's say player 1 passes to player 5, and he goes and sets a screen over on player 5's defender. When he sets this screen, what I want to see is player 1 pop out to cut off player 5's driving lane, and then player 5 red to go over top and now defend player 5. So now it's a double team on player 5. Now, what needs to happen is player 4 needs to collapse and cover the high post. Player 3 needs to collapse slightly to cut off, still have the ability to cut off the pass to player 3, but also cut off the drive to player 1. So he needs to get somewhere in between. And then player 2 needs to get down into the low post to essentially zone up. Now, if you're not allowed to run zones in your age, this may look like a zone to some referees. Because you are still playing man-to-man, you're blitzing the screen, but these 3 other players are zoning up into a triangle. If, for example, they got that pass over to player 1, this is where it gets tricky, especially with younger players. I would want player 3 to guard player 1, and because player 5 red is closest to 3, I would want him to go down and switch onto player 3. Now you've got a mismatch here at younger ages. However, that's just something that you're going to have to deal with, because now player 1 and 5 will be guarding each other. This also works with dribble handoffs. So let's say player 1 goes over and sets that dribble handoff over on this side. After that dribble handoff happens, player 1 is going to go over the screen, player 4 is going to go over the screen. They are going to be then double teaming. Player 4 blue, player 5 needs to zone up, player 2 needs to zone up, player 3 needs to zone up. Now, if player 4 passes over to 5, this needs to be intercepted. If 4 passes to 1, 5 needs to intercept that. 4 passes out here, 2 needs to intercept that pass. If he's able to beat his way out of that double, now, if possible, player 4 will stay on 1, 5 will stay on 5, 3 will stay on 3, and 2 will stay on 2. This is a very advanced strategy for younger players. However, I run it with my 11U team, and they're able to get it just perfectly. We actually run different strategies as well in man-to-man along the sideline, and I will be breaking that down in a future video and future book that I am going to be releasing, because this defense shuts a lot of teams down. Now, one of the things in a screen and roll, what players and coaches want to happen is players to switch. Because every coach, it seems like, at least up here in Canada, almost every coach tells their players to switch. Switch everything. And this is exactly why you do not want to switch everything. Because now, with player 5 rolling to the basket, he now is a tall man versus probably a shorter player, and this should be a guaranteed layup every single time. So while a switch will still allow to have full coverage, you are now getting your players into mismatches where now there's a tall on a small, and let's also not forget the fact that now, with these guys clearing out, that now you have a shorter, faster player on traditionally a taller, slower player, which now is another mismatch also. Anytime you have a switch, it's most likely a mismatch. In offenses, it is very rare to have a situation where you have, for example, this, where you've got a 2 screening a 1. In this case, you can switch, because most likely 2 guards are the exact same size roughly, and generally the same speed. There won't be too many mismatches there, so you can switch. But this is something that very rarely happens. You always want to have a screen with a mismatch. There's also the hedge, right? So when player 4 sets that screen on player 1, player 1 uses that screen, player 1 red will go underneath that screen, get in the way of player 4 rolling. Player 4 will hedge, they'll recover, and now everything is in full coverage once again. This would be the most perfect way to be able to guard a screen. However, the issues with it is this. If player 4 goes just a bit too high, player 1 can split and has the whole lane to the basket to himself. So you have to make sure that player 4 red doesn't go up too high, or else he's going to get split and player 1's going to be able to go downhill to the basket. I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Hit that like button, subscribe. Make sure to go check out the complete guide to the 5-out offense that is down in the description below. And I'll see you guys again next time.